Hey crafters, let's check out what's in this kit. First thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and open it up. You'll notice on the inside we have a QR code. If you scan this, it'll take you to our tutorial where we'll show you everything in the kit and how to craft with it. Let's go ahead and look at what's in here. We've got a silicone bowl for mixing our UV resin and glitter, silicone wands for mixing those up together, and we have 3 full-size glitters: Lost Treasure, Northern Lights, and Stardust. We also have a silicone mat for crafting. We can lay this down, that way none of our projects will get all over our surfaces at home. We have a flashlight, and then it's also going to come with batteries as well. So we have 3 AA batteries to go inside that and get that working. We have our UV resin from MakerFlo Crafts. And then lastly, we also have our gemstones. And that's it. Let's get crafting, guys. All right, now that we have all of our tools out, let's go ahead and get them ready to craft. First thing we'll do is we'll get our flashlight. We're gonna go ahead and unscrew the back like this. Once you have it open, you can set the little backing down, take out the battery pack. You're gonna notice on this battery pack, there's an arrow. This arrow is gonna go ahead and point directionally where you want the battery pack facing when you put it back in the flashlight. With the arrow pointing down this way, that means when you put it back in, it needs to go in here. Now let's go ahead and put our batteries in place. So you should have 3 AA batteries in your kit. Just go ahead and remove all the plastic from the outside of those batteries. And then we're going to take special care to make sure that when we put them into the flashlight that they're facing the right way. So now we have on here our pluses and our minuses, so make sure you're putting your batteries in correctly. Minus goes with the minus, plus goes with the plus. Go ahead and do that for all of the batteries. Once they're all in the correct way and you know which way your arrow is pointing, put that back in your flashlight. Go ahead and screw that on. Looks like we got it working already. To test your flashlight, you can go ahead and just press the power button on the side to turn your light on and off. Next, let's get our UV resin ready. For this, we're gonna go ahead and open the bottle. You'll also wanna unscrew this top here. You can use this pointier end to actually puncture the hole in the UV resin. So now that's open, ready for us to use. We'll go ahead and put this back together. All right, lastly, we wanna get our glitter ready. I'm gonna use the gold today. So let's go ahead and grab the gold glitter. You're gonna wanna go ahead and just unscrew the top and remove the little seal. Perfect. And you can do that with any of the glitters that you'd like to use. All right, so we have everything ready to go. Now let's go ahead and introduce some items. Now, before we get much further, I want to remind you, you'll want to use gloves while you're playing with your UV resin. So this isn't in your kit, but make sure you have some handy. We prefer nitrile gloves, but these are going to be to protect your hands just in case anything gets on your hands. That way you can keep them clean. So make sure you have some gloves nearby. Now, let's go ahead and pick a piece of jewelry. We're going to start with this one right here. Now with this, we're only going to craft on this piece of it, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this other piece to the side. So this right here gives you plenty of options. You can either fill UV resin and glitter on the inside here, you can embellish it and add some birthstones, or you could do something to the outside. We're just gonna do something easy to go ahead and get us started. So let's go ahead and fill this inside here with a little bit of glitter and UV resin. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my gloves and we'll get started. Now, once I have my gloves on, there's a few things you can do. You can either measure this space with water to see how much UV resin you need, or you can eyeball it. I'm pretty confident I won't need too much resin, so I'm gonna go ahead and just eyeball it. So I'll go ahead and open up my little bottle here, set my cap to the side, and I'm gonna fill this bowl about 1/3 of the way full. If I need more later, I can always add more resin and mix up my glitter again. All right, that looks like about the right amount. So I'm gonna go ahead and just recap my UV resin to keep it nice and protected. And then we'll grab our glitter and mix a little bit of this in our resin. I'm not going to do a whole lot because typically when you're curing resin, you want to cure through the front and the back side of it. Since this is solid, we're not going to be able to cure from the back, so we need the light to be able to penetrate through everything. So we're going to go ahead and just mix this up. Now, again, you need to be able to see through the resin, that way the light can cure it. With UV resin, it cures through the flashlight or sunlight. Now, this looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and just start filling this centerpiece. When I fill the center, it adds so much shine to it, just even from the little bit that I've done so far. Now, it's up to you how dark you want to make this. Again, just make sure the light can pass through. Now, I can either stop here or I can pour a little bit more, but see how it goes almost to the outer edge there? I kind of like how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and stop at this point. I'm going to go ahead and just put that to the side, and I'm going to use my little wand to make sure that this is spread the way I want it to. What's really cool about the wand and the bowl is since they're both silicone, when you're done with your project, you can cure them with the light just like you did your project and actually reuse them for your next thing. So let's go ahead and just leave this to the side. I like how that's all spread out. And let's go ahead and get our flashlight and we'll start to cure. Now I've noticed that it's not quite sitting straight, so I'm going to go ahead and hold this. That way it is sitting more evenly. Perfect. Once you have the resin where you want it to be, you can start your cure. Once you've started to cure, it does cure quickly. So make sure everything is set the way you want it to, and then go ahead and give it a start. Here, let's even this out just a little bit over here. And right here. Perfect. So now we'll go ahead and cure it. When you're curing, depending on how much of the actual UV resin you're curing, you're going to use about 60 to 90 seconds to cure. So let's go ahead and do 90 just to make sure. Once my initial curing is done, which is about what I've done so far, I'll go ahead and set it down. It's not going to move too much anymore. We just want to finish curing it. So we'll set it down and we'll keep the light on it. Give us about 90 seconds and this should be good to go. If you're not using your other projects, anything with glitter or resin, you can actually go ahead and just leave these close by and let them cure with your project. So I'm just going to go ahead and widen my lamp right here. That way I'm curing those items as well. We have about 30 seconds left, so we're almost done. Let's go ahead and give it a little tap, see how we're doing. Did you guys hear that? It's pretty hard. I think it's just about ready for us. Once our little timer goes off, it's going to be ready to go. All right, and that is about our 90 seconds. So that's going to be nice and cured. I'm going to go ahead and shine my light at my silicone bowl and my wand just to get it ready for my next project as well. But while those are curing, let's go ahead and feel our project. Doesn't that look super cool, guys? Added just a bit of shine to this. We'll go ahead and set that to the side. That first project is done. So what do we think? Easy so far? Now I'm going to go ahead and clean up and we'll move on to our next project. All right, first let's take a look at our finished project that we just did. Doesn't that bracelet look beautiful? Really like how that turned out. Now let's go ahead and we'll make our next jewelry piece. So we'll just leave that to the side for now. Next, we're going to craft with these earrings. So with these, they're already stunning, so I'm not going to do a whole lot to them, but we want to give them a little extra embellishment. So with these, what we're going to try to do is we'll go ahead and do a little bit of glitter and resin around the outside here, and then we're going to put one gemstone in the middle right there. So let's go ahead and we'll start with one, and then we'll do the other one. Let's go ahead and just get those ready to go, leave them nice and centered on our mat. Perfect. Now let's take a look at these gemstones and see which one we want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And you'll notice that it has a little picture chart on the outside to show you which one is which. So you can either use this to pick what you want, or you can match colors. It's really up to you. I think for this one I want to match colors, so I might just use these guys right here. But go ahead and decide what you want to use and leave it to wherever it's convenient for you. Now next, I'm going to go ahead and take my resin and I'm going to mix a little bit in the bowl again. You'll notice my bowl is very clean. All I did was I cured it with our flashlight and just picked it right out. If you have any remaining glitter, anything like that, you can always use tape to go ahead and remove that, or soap and water works great as well. Now for this, we don't need a whole lot of the UV resin, so I'm just going to do a very small amount, maybe 1/6 of the bowl. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my little lid back on my resin, and I'm going to mix in just a little bit of glitter. Let's go ahead and use the Northern Lights for this one. Now I did prep this earlier and open the little glitter catch. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a very small amount because again, we need the light to be able to pass through in order for it to cure. So just a little embellishment of glitter. And then I'll take my little wand and I'm going to mix that up. I think that's a really good level of just light iridescence. It's going to provide a really fun little accent to the pieces. So now we're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of this mixture on wherever we want it to sit on the jewelry. So I'm going to go ahead and just dab a little bit on like this, and then use the pointy end of my wand to spread it out. Now take your time with this, guys. What's really nice about UV resin is unless you are showing it direct sunlight or UV light, it's not going to cure, so you have all the work time you need. So really just take your time and get that UV resin glitter where you want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I've got it covered on all of my little corners here. Just gently push that along. Awesome. And then I'll get this side as well. Perfect. So let's just let that sit for a second. While that is sitting, we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So now let's get this one. Again, take your time with this, guys. No need to rush. You have all the work time you need. Just go ahead and spread out that UV resin and glitter wherever you'd like it to go. Now go ahead and make sure that this is covered on all the edges, just like on my last piece over there. And I think that's looking pretty good. So perfect, just a very slight little accent, which is exactly what we're looking for. Now I'm not going to use that UV resin mixture anymore, so I'm going to leave it in the frame here, and let's go ahead and cure this. Now this time, guys, we used a very, very small amount of UV resin, so this is probably going to be cured in about 30 to 45 seconds. Now we're going to do 45 just in case, because we want to make sure that this gets nice and cured. So go ahead and just hold your flashlight over the items. For such a small amount of resin, you want to make sure you are covering the entire area still. So if you need to focus on one and then the other, that's okay too. And the closest you want to get with your flashlight is about 6 inches away from the object. We've got about 20 seconds left, guys, so just make sure you're holding on tight and getting all of those nice and cured. Now, if you're not using your resin like I'm not, remember you can keep that nearby so that that gets cured as well. All right, guys, that's our timer. Let's go ahead and check and see how this feels. Well, it feels great. If it feels sticky at all, then it just needs more time to cure. But this is perfect. So next, we're gonna go ahead and attach just a little bit more UV resin. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make sure these are laying nice and flat for the gemstones. Perfect. Okay. Now those are laying flat. We're gonna go ahead and do just a very, very small dab of UV resin and put that right in the center. Now what this is going to do is act as glue and hold our little gemstone in place. So again, just do a light dab here. Perfect. And then let's get the gemstones we want to use and place them in the center. I'm going to go ahead and use my wand again. This should be pretty dry. Yep, perfect. So that peeled right off. And I'm going to go ahead and just dab in the resin and then get the gemstone that I want to use. Now, if they are not cooperating with you, you can always just use your finger and sprinkle them in too. So we just want to do this one, so let's go and drop that in place. Perfect. Awesome, that's right where I wanted it to be. Now, we'll go ahead and get one more and drop that into place as well. This is where it gets tricky. You want these earrings to be similar. They don't have to be the same though. So let's see if we can find a similar shaped gemstone to put next to it. I think this one's pretty good. Oh, here we go. Got a few options for us. Okay, I say that this one is probably the closest. So let's see if we can pick that up with the tip of the wand. Let's see. Nope. So let's go ahead and use our hand. And then slide that into place where you want it. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and cure these. Now this time we're gonna cure for about 30 to 45 seconds again. Again, this is a very small amount of resin, so you don't need to give it a whole lot of time, just enough for it to get hardened. Make sure you're giving both of your earrings plenty of time under that UV light. I like to switch side to side to make sure that I'm getting everything. And again, no closer than about 6 inches away. Now, if you wanted to do something more elaborate with the gemstones, you always can, but we just did something easy today. Got about 5 seconds left, guys. That means that this should be just about nice and dry. All right, that is our time. So let's go and check these out, see how they did. Look at that. Perfect, stayed nice in place, doesn't fall off. It's gonna be stuck on there forever. Now you can always add an extra layer of UV resin to really lock everything in. You give it that domed look, but you just keep adding resin and curing as you go. And that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. We made 2 beautiful pieces of jewelry, one with this copper piece and one with the silver earrings. Hope you had fun with me today.